Hi, everyone. Welcome to May Long Weekend. Sorry, I'm still kind of in the dark. I always have my stuff set up in front of a window, but it ends up making the videos a bit dark. Anyways, you can still see me. Um, Happy May Long Weekend. I think that's what we're in. It's Monday. I hope you enjoyed the sun yesterday. It seems a bit cloudy today, which is a bummer. But anyways, I hope you're all healthy and staying grounded and mentally stable and finding some joy in our new normal. I know that your essays have been uploaded. Of course, they've just been uploaded. So, as all lengthy writing, it takes me some time to get back to you. So, please just be patient as I work through your first critical essay. Um, I know some of you have reached out and said that the discussions were not that dynamic for you. I just want to offer that one thing that happened is when the course was first set up, there were over 90 students registered. And so I thought, oh man, a full class discussion with 90 students is going to be too crazy. So I had divided you into groups. And once those groups were divided, then we had, excuse me, the drop deadline. And so we lost a bunch of students where I shuffled them out to different courses. Some of them couldn't manage, whatever. Now we have a smaller cohort. I think we have about 50 students now. And so what happened with some of the group discussions is that some of the people that you would be naturally placed with are no longer in the course. And so now I have to figure out a strategy to reorganize that. And it seemingly is a non-issue. I have no problem with it. It's just that the D2L system makes grouping and then ungrouping incredibly difficult. So I need to sort that out. You will not be penalized. I know some of you are concerned with, well, I posted, but nobody responded. I'm aware of the situation. I apologize for that. It couldn't have been avoided. I had a feeling that maybe this week this would happen because now we lost a bunch of students. So I need to take some time to figure out how I'm going to manage that. So please just be patient with me. I know you have a discussion this week. I will try to sort that out in the next few days. If you can hold off on the discussion for this week until I send out a message this week about how we're going to manage that, I'd be grateful. There's lots of other stuff to do this week. So the discussion we can put a hold on for just until I sort that out. So thank you for that, for your patience. Let's talk about this week. So you've finished 2 weeks of lots of short stories, and we're going to take a pause from short stories and move into poetry. And here's what I want to offer. There's several different ways of embarking on interpreting poetry. One way, which we would naturally do in our lives if we were to ever come across a poem, and some of you might be poets and interested in poetry, is, and how I would tend to do it, is do some research on the poet and the context in which it was written and, what was the purpose of the poem. And then it would help us kind of provides it allows us into the poem with some clarity. That's one approach. And that's a valid approach. There are several other approaches when I need you to develop a skill set that's a little bit different. So what does that mean? On a diploma exam or on a final exam or throughout the course, we are often given poems and we're not allowed to do research on them. The idea is the skill that we're looking for when we're just given a poem in kind of a cold scenario is, how does a student, when reading a piece of poetry or even a short story, create meaning when they have no context? So if a poem is placed in front of me, I don't know about the author, I have no prior knowledge about maybe the historical context in which it was written. I have to create meaning from the piece of paper. Now, for most poets, that was their intention. They wanted their poems to stand alone. So yes, they might have been created in a context, but they wanted their poetry to last. And so they had to, in some ways, acknowledge that maybe somebody reading it doesn't have that context. This is a highly engaging, critical thinking exercise. So what that means is you're given several poems this week. I don't want you to do research. I will know if you do, and it defeats the purpose of the assignment. The purpose of this week's assignments with poetry is, when given a poem, can you find meaning without having context? I can guarantee that you can. How? Well, I've offered two strategies. One strategy is called Soapstone, and the other strategy is called Tipcast. The strategies themselves, if you go through the process of the strategy, will allow you to bring out meaning from the poem that you didn't think that you could. So, for instance, with Tipcast, it's going to ask you to look at the title. It's going to ask you, just from the title, what are some thoughts that you have? What are some predictions? You will have some. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to think you're wrong, and then you're going to not write anything. I'm not interested in right and wrong for this week's poetry. I'm really not. I'm interested in, can you show me how you're thinking about the poem on paper? The more thinking you have, the better, even if it's wrong, because all I'm interested in doing is allowing you to develop a process of critical thinking that builds your confidence in how much you actually understand without doing any research and without doing any historical background on the poem. It's so important because within that exercise, you yourself will develop your critical thinking ability. You'll develop your reading comprehension ability. You'll be able to gain some confidence in, wow, this was a really hard poem, and I actually did find some meaning because the process allowed me to do that. So that's what this week is about. It's using two critical thinking strategies when we engage with poetry to unleash everything that's in our brain. And the more we can pull out, the better. The second part to that is, every single time you have a thought about the poem, provide evidence for it. That will also encourage you to develop your confidence. So if you think, you know what, I think poem number one is about love. Why do you think that? Find the moments in the poem that offer that to you so that you can support your reasoning with evidence. So what you should be finding now is everything in the course is built around the same ideas. What are the themes? How do we know? Where is our evidence to support that? And poetry is just another tool in order for us to engage those skills. So try to have some fun with it. The poems are not easy. And the reason I chose more challenging poems is because we don't have a lot of poems in the course. And so I want bang for buck. Um, I give you a few challenging poems that really hurt your brain, and then we move on to something else because, again, it's a condensed program. And then for those of you who are going to be taking the diploma or the equivalency, which we still have no word on, but even if you choose to do that at a later date, this will allow you, when you get that reading comprehension test, you're going to get a ton of poems in there, and you're not allowed to do research. And so if you are on an exam and you're looking at a poem and you're like, oh my God, I suck at poetry, I don't know what to do. What I want to happen is, oh, right, Tammy taught me Soapstone. I'm going to use Soapstone to figure this out. And then I'll be able to answer the multiple choice questions. Or I didn't love Soapstone, but I love Tipcast. So I'm going to read this poem and I'm going to use that Tipcast strategy, because then when I go to the multiple choice, I'll be able to answer it. Everything in a multiple choice exam with regards to poetry is what those strategies ask you to do. So, for instance, one of those strategies will say, can you find some figurative or poetic devices? Well, on a multiple choice exam, they're going to say the metaphor is A, B, C, or D. It's just, it kind of happens in reverse. So, the other strategy this week, or it's not strategy, but the other lesson in this week is, there's a poetic devices booklet and PowerPoint that's provided for you. I think that the booklet was provided in the introductory week, and now there's a PowerPoint. You have to know those things. You just have to know them. You have to know what metaphors are, alliteration, personification, imagery, alliteration, cacophony, metonymy, hyperbole. Those are languages. That's a dialect within English language arts study. And it's expected that you know them. And so this will allow you to start studying those words again and reminding yourself. And if they're new to you, then it's an opportunity to learn them. The next thing you're going to be doing this week is a different type of writing, which you kind of had some practice with the introductory getting to know you story. You are going to be writing what's called a personal response. And the personal response takes a million different forms. What that means is, a personal response can be an essay, it can be a short story, it could be a monologue, it could be a script, it could be a diatribe, it could be a speech. Everything, the only thing that a personal response cannot be is poetry. You can never respond to a personal response in this course or on the diploma or the equivalency using poetry. What you'll notice is I've uploaded a whole series of polished videos, just like I did with the critical, taking you through the stages of a personal response. But the assignment asks you to write a creative personal response. I don't want any essays this week. Zero. I don't want you to write me an essay this week. You are going to be responding to the personal response using a creative approach. And the videos will explain what that means. So will the exemplars. I'm not going to get into that here. Why do I do that though? Is because I know from experience with students that you are storytellers. All of us are natural storytellers. And so I want to leverage that natural ability when you write a personal response. We are not naturally gifted essay writers. That's why the critical response that you just wrote is so challenging. It doesn't come naturally. So for me to then say, now I want you to write a personal response in an essay format, it's like not leveraging your natural skill set. That's why I make that decision. So that'll all make sense when you go through the assignments this week and look at the videos. And I have a feeling you'll send me questions, and that's okay. But this tends to be a really exciting week for students, even though they're daunted. So the response I always get is, I don't know how to do creative response. And I know, but yet you'll start doing it and then it'll be natural and it'll be amazing. So this week is all about process and trusting the process and using the strategies I provide for you this week to allow you to engage in the process. So you have to kind of pacify your anxiety this week about kind of the new uncomfortable things that you're going to be doing: poetry, personal response, creative writing, and just this is a week where you just have to trust me. I promise you, you will do really well. Because that's what I find every time when I do this with students. It's the most exciting week for me as a teacher, because I often have students who feel like they can't do it, and then what they come up with is usually so much better than what they've done in creative writing and critical writing. So that's going to be this week. What else do I want to say to you? I think that's it. So again, happy Monday, happy long weekend. It's a little bit lighter of a week, I think, because it's poetry. I shouldn't say that, because for some students that like really hurts their brain, but it should feel like a little bit like you taking a little bit of a breath this week, because I'm not giving you a short story to read. So I guess what I'm saying is reading is light this week, and process is big this week. How you engage in some critical thinking without tools other than some soapstone and tipcast strategies. Again, let me sort out the discussions, how we're going to move forward with those. I'll have that sorted soon, and allow me some time to get you your feedback on your first critical essay. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the respectful engagement. For the few of you who are still having issues with D2L and uploading, at this point in the course, I really have to focus on content and engaging with content. And so if you are having trouble uploading assignments or the technical aspect, there is a helpline and I need you to call it. I can't help you with uploading an assignment. I don't know how to do that. I have said that I won't accept emails with assignments. I have a very particular reason. I can't track them that way when I have so many students emailing me. Our D2L email bank it's a terrible system that I can't control. So if you email me an assignment, it'll likely get lost. So just sort of know you're taking a risk when you're doing that, and that really things need to be uploaded through D2L. As always, I will offer feedback on the personal response. I don't really want to be offering feedback on the poetry. If I don't feel like you're digging deep enough, I'll just let you know. But I'm not offering, yes, you got it right, or yes, you got it wrong. I will do that in a summary at the end of the week when things are posted, kind of some notes and exemplars like I've done in the past. And that's where you can kind of glean some feedback. So if you get satisfactory, for instance, on the poetry analysis, then when I upload an exemplar, once those are done, you can see, oh, you know what? I guess she's looking for more she's looking for more depth. She's looking for more notes. I kept mine quite general. So just sort of be mindful of that. I want my feedback to be around your critical essays this week, allowing I need some time to do that. And also knowing that you're going to be submitting personal responses, allowing feedback to go through that way before I mark them. So that's a lot in terms of feedback. And so for the poetry, it's going to be, just submit and give me the best of what you can do there. And then just note that I'll post some exemplars later. Again, questions, concerns, give me a shout through the millions of ways that you can reach me, MS Teams, D2L email, Bow Valley College email, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Be well, stay safe, stay healthy.